Hello again, it's time for a new game here. Now we're doing the game Vidit against Gukesh, and it's the second half and it's round 8. So we're gonna go round 8, round 12. No, it's okay. No, it doesn't work apparently. I don't trust that one then. It's Gukesh against Vidit, and it's better maybe to check here. Yeah, I'm not really sure when it is. Maybe it's better to look at the dates. So last game against Firusha, it was on the 11th of April, and this was on the 5th. So this is on the 11th, and Vidit is on 13th. So it's the game after, or 2 games after, depending on if there was like a rest day or not in between. So now Gukesh here, Firusha was round 7, and then next part start here. Yeah, so it's probably round 8 now. Second half is starting. Gukesh is on +1, and he will need to play great to advance here, and is playing against Vidit, who is also from India. There were 3 Indian players in this tournament. Vidit do e4, and Gukesh plays e5. I don't think, maybe he's always playing e5. Maybe I saw some Sicilian or so, but I think e5 is his main weapon, and he likes the yeah. Nowadays people play Italian more than the Spanish, so or as much. So I remember him seeing me playing black in the Italian lots of time. This is actually like what's called the Prussian. Pure Italian is bishop c5, but because white almost always do d3, it's like a transposition to d3 Italian here. And here, quite an interesting move. I like it a bit. Sometimes Gukesh got in problems in some games because he played bishop c5 and then d6 and castle, and he got into trouble with bishop g5, which is annoying, which is sometimes annoying. So this time he decides to prevent it at once with h6. And computer, that's the second best moves for black. Bishop c5 was main move, but it's also a fine move because of that, because it's the calm Italian opening here. So the Italian is called sometimes called the calm opening or something like that in Italian. So let's see here. So interestingly here, white decides to try to trade the bishop, and he can take it, but he decides not. Instead he allows white to trade here, and I guess the problem with taking on e3 is sometimes white could get this file, but sometimes, and also he got control over these pieces, but these squares, but computer thinks it would have been fine also to take on take an e3, and we will see he will take on e3 soon here. So interestingly, computer does not like for white to take here. Okay, it's about the same as the other. I thought this was maybe some kind of a try for white to give black doubled pawns, but computer is not so afraid of that, so he plays that instead. Castle c3. Okay, so he wants to white wants to force black to take on e3 to get the open f file I talked about, because you can start dreaming here of getting some kind of play on the f7, and sometimes the knight could go here, which is stronger with f file is open. But it looks like he took there anyway. You can like go back, but you lose a little bit of a tempo, because here like best move for black is probably to go back, like, so black loses some time if he plays like that. So he decides to take, and then he trades white's bishop, and here white makes a mistake. If he would have, for example, taken here And now it's better for black to take with the rook for some reason. I guess it's put it here maybe sometimes. No, he just wants to go around here. So this is apparently an even game here, but after b4 there was the chance for black to get a fine position by taking here. Then going here. So on first hand it looks good for white here because he has used more space, but apparently this computer sees that this structure can get a bit weak maybe in the end game or so. We will see that in the game, that black will win on like a counter attack this game. So if white advance, pawns cannot go backwards, so if you have advanced too far they might get weak. Okay, so he took there. So apparently it was better for black to take first, because yeah, this rook on e6 often has to used to go back, so losing time maybe. So here the computer does not like that move. Basically because white can defend, so take, like it's never a threat to take and win that pawn. So yeah, but it was fine. Gukesh will go back, and white, the problem with white's play here is that now black got the a file, which will get extremely important in the game. So actually the computer likes d5 here, which looks a little bit wrong to give up this square on c5 for black knight, but white can always trade that knight and then something like this. Computer thinks this would have been a better way for white to defend. Yeah, black is solid, but it's hard for black to create some place. So, for example, something like this. Okay, so because now black got the file, and he got some quite an easy play here, because white cannot contest it because this one is going, and so he has to defend, and then now white cannot contest it obviously because it will just get here, and you kinda don't want to give up. Sometimes you don't want to give up a file. It's okay to give up the a file sometimes, but you kind of want something in return. Now white just gave up the a file for nothing, so here you can see that the position is already yeah, he did h3. Here you can see that the position is already like a little bit critical here, with the big rook is coming in and start asking questions. So black has no hurry because white has just made calm moves. So white, for example, if white would have done something like this, then threatening to go here, then of course apparently this is already winning for black now with this, and it's, so let's see why. Okay, so this pawn is hanging, so he can't play that. Okay, so then because this strong pressure here, white is in big trouble to it's hard for him to start trading pieces, because he's like pinned down in the defense of the e4 pawn. So he tried rook f2, he went here. Would have been better to do queen b1 for some reason, because now yeah, black could have tried to trade queens, which would have been strong. Good for black to trade queens here. The white queen was more active than black's one. So now you can see it's almost winning already here for black. White's pawns are weak. And now we could see a little bit of the problem here with taking e3. Like I think, like if the let's imagine white's pawn was on f2, then I think white could probably hold this black would be better, but he could probably hold this, but now it's already critical here. But he didn't trade. He played like this, maybe wanted to repeat or trade later, but yeah. So here white is probably realizing that its position is bad, so he's trying for a counter attack here with knight h4, knight f5, which I think is practically the correct position. Like, you don't want just to be passive and let opponent improve forever. But now black can apparently use to trade that. So here white's best was apparently to go for the endgame anyway. So let's see how that would have become. Yeah, black is better, but it looks like the black doesn't really have a plan. He just going back and forth with the rook here, according to the computer. So it's black doesn't find a winning plan. So maybe that was the last chance for white. So maybe try to trade, because yeah, keeping the queens might not be better. And here he makes a mistake where the position is lost after that. Better was queen c2. Okay, and interestingly, black is sacrificing a pawn here to trade knights. This is the classic Dvoretsky rule here, that black's knights are bad because they defend each other. You don't want your knight defending each other, then they are just don't have many squares to move to. So, but when he can trade off one of the knights, even if he loses a pawn, look what happens. Now, now this one is weak, and yeah, apparently it's white's position is pretty bad here now. Even if white is up a pawn. This one is being threatened also. Something like that. But it was still the white's best try here. So he did c5, which doesn't really work tactically. And it was probably because of a miscalculation by Vidit here, because this knight c4, the computer doesn't like that either, because actually black will get almost a mating attack here. Out of nothing he gets a mating attack here. And as we can see, there is no defense, but it's forced checkmate now after rook e2. So it's mate e19. So I don't know if he saw it, but let's see here. So it's check. Check. And then calmly defending. Now g5 is mating one threat, so he has to sack this one. And of course he could take, but why, when he can threaten forced mate here? And white's only move is here, preventing that. And then black is playing, Gukesh is playing the perfect computer moves here. Maybe not so hard for these guys, but okay, so he tries this one. Like a threat is take here and then checkmate next move. So white has to do something, and what he does now is, of course, taking the knight, losing the queen there. So, but anyway, he does that because it will be a checkmate if he takes the queen. Checkmate. That's a nice checkmate. After that one, still checkmate. Check. Check. So that's just an out of nothing. Gukesh got like a winning attack. So that was especially this that he played like after here, Gukesh played perfectly mate in 10. Like he played a perfect moves. Maybe not so hard moves even for a master player like me, but it's still extremely impressive that he finds like all the best moves here. Check here and then defending the knight, and then not taking the knight but trying to go for the checkmate again, because taking the knight was surely winning, but why when you can calculate to the end here, which I'm sure he did here. And here after g4 he didn't move the queen, instead he took there, because queen cannot be taken because of g5, and now it's this forced mate. So nice, very nice game, and this game I think gave Gukesh like confidence to play good, and we will see that he will win 2 more games here shortly to get the lead in the tournament. So after this game, round 8, we have Gukesh and Nepomniachtchi in the lead with +1, Prag and Hikaru who has +1, and Fabi lost this round apparently. Must have been against he lost. Yeah, he must have lost against Hikaru Nakamura. I remember that game now. It was this opposite colored bishop ending that Fabi got to up after the opening that he couldn't defend. There was some Scott. I think it was a Scottish game. I think with Hikaru as white. Okay, so this is the standing now, and we have 3 more games to go here in this tournament. See you then.